Hello, hello, just Gem here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to film a video that I had wanted to put up during Halloween week, and the reason being because it's with the Haunted Europe palette from Nomad, and I don't know if this is showing, oh there we go, that's better, but that's fun, isn't it? I do like that. I think they do that for most of their Halloween launches. I haven't picked up Ghost Town. I think with Ghost Town, I really love all the shades and the tones in there, but I wonder if some of them are a little bit too similar, and I know that I can like 100% dupe the shades that are in there. I mean, at this point, any new palette I get, I can dupe the shades that are in there. But I think now when I'm buying, it's based on formula and the curation of the colour story. So I might buy a palette if I think to myself, ooh, if I buy that palette, that would mean I wouldn't have to travel with, I don't know, smoky and earthy, for example. I mean, I don't know why on earth I'd want to travel with smoky and earthy, because I've got the £42 palettes of each, so that would be a lot to carry around, but you get what I mean. I think I'm now more drawn to colour stories where maybe it's combining two of my favourite palettes. I think going forward that's probably more likely what I'm going to lean towards. That's what the inside of this palette looks like. When I first saw this colour story, actually, it wasn't one I was instantly drawn to. It's one that grew on me. I think I almost remember distinctly disliking it when I first saw it, and then I kept seeing it and I kept seeing it, and I was seeing people using it and creating different looks with it, and then I thought, actually, so I'm going to go to my OG format, one look on each eye, and I'm going to split it down the middle because that seems to make the most sense. That's kind of like the cool toned, mauvey, bluey kind of side, and this is ever so slightly warmer. It's got some golds in there, it's got an orange, and I might see if I can avoid that greeny row, just because I know that my eye would be instantly drawn to it. And yeah, I could do something focusing on these two columns and ignoring the green for now. And then I haven't used purple for a while, I don't think, so I can go crazy on this side. I'll start perhaps with the more neutrally side, neutral warm leaning side, so the gold, orange, brown. Funnily enough, because I don't think I am going to use this shade in this video, Highgate Cemetery, that's the shade right there. So I used to live in an area in London called Archway, which is just down the road from Highgate Cemetery. So fun fact for you. Not gonna lie, it's probably something that contributed to me getting this palette. Is that a sensible reason? No, it's not, but we're not always sensible, are we, as human beings? I'm wondering if I go in with something like Dragon's Home Castle, or maybe going with Frankenstein and deepen with Dragon's Home Castle. So Frankenstein's that orange, that's the Dragon's Home Castle shade. I have swatched these shades. In fact, I'm going to put the swatches up now. Here are the swatches of the Nomad Cosmetics Haunted Europe palette. I've swatched the left hand side of the palette on top and the right hand side, the more purpley side, on the bottom. What I will say is the purple side was drier. Like, I definitely noticed more dryness in the purple side. All in all, I actually really like this colour story. I went back and forth over this. Originally I was going to get both Halloween palettes because they do have a bundle, but then I decided that I had Ghost Town, like the shades in Ghost Town I've got 100 times over. I mean, I've probably got these shades 100 times over, to be perfectly honest, but this colour story is definitely more unique to me than the Ghost Town one. But I swatched these a few days ago, so I can't actually remember what they look like when you've got them swatched out. So I don't know how well a shade like Catacombs, which is quite silvery grey would look with Boogeyman and Husker Castle. But I think I remember Boogeyman and Husker Castle being perhaps a little bit more similar than I would like them to be. Purple is notoriously difficult to formulate, so I think that's one of the reasons, but we'll see how they perform on the eye when I get to that. But we're going to start with, let's start with Frankenstein, and I'll use a Refa 15, and I'll just kind of put that all over my crease area. And that's quite a pigmented orange. Yes, I'm a little bit gutted that I wasn't able to. Wow, okay. I don't think I necessarily needed to put more on there, but I did. We are where we are. I'm gutted that I didn't get to use this during Halloween week. My intention had been, I think I skipped filming on that. Not that I skipped filming. I'd wanted to film with this and have it up, I think, on the Sunday. But the video I was editing before, which I think was my What Do I Think Now roundup, I just didn't have the time to edit that, to get that in time, to get that up on the Thursday or Friday, to then be able to film this, to have it up on the Sunday. So that kind of entire week got a bit thrown off course. I was about to do that on the other side. I was like, nope, we're doing one look on each eye. One look on each eye. I think I mentioned this in a video that's either going up before this or going up after this. I don't know when it's going up, but I have filmed it already. But I'm also starting to think about what I'm going to film and what I want to do with my channel in 2025. I've picked up my Refa 14 and I am now going into that brown Dragon's Home Castle, and I'll take it lower and on the edge. It has quite a cool tone brown actually. I thought it'd be a bit warmer than that. If you can hear a whirring sound, that's because I've got my laptop in the corner currently optimizing video files for me to edit. So I'm trying to multitask here. Normally what I do, well, I flip between, but lately I've been going from like dark to light, so I probably would have gone in with the brown and blended it out with the orange, but I quite like that I've put the orange down first and now I'm putting the brown over the top. I kind of almost wish there was a black in here. Like I kind of wish I could do almost like a, because I've seen a lot of people doing it, it looks really good, like a smoky eye, black smoky eye, but with the orange. I guess this is the next best thing. I'm just going to swatch Catacombs and the two golds, because that's them swatched out. I always do this, I put them in an angle that doesn't work to show it to you guys, but that's the silver and the two golds, which I know they are different. That's a bit more of a muted gold than that one. Boogeyman is a bit more muted than Husker Castle. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm going to attempt this, so I'm going to put Catacombs on the outer corner. I mean, it's makeup. If I don't like it, I can always wash it off, can't I? It's nice to experiment. Now I don't know if I want to keep it a bit more muted. And after saying that I wanted to avoid those greens, I think Merry Cemetery could look quite nice next to Catacombs. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm using Merry Cemetery and I'm going to put Boogeyman as the inner corner. So much for not using any of the greens. Oops. But yeah, see, that just works. That just works. I've got these silicone applicators. Let's try that on Merry Cemetery. I used them for the first time yesterday and I've got to be careful not to apply too much pressure and gouge into the shade, but I really liked how it helped me apply, especially on this inside bit. I quite like that. It's subdued, it's quite a muted look, but still with some colour. I just want to see what it looks like with Boogeyman in the corner. It might be a bit much, but we're doing it anyway. I quite like that. Right, I'll leave the underneath for the time being and go on to eye number 2. So now we're on the purple side. I'm thinking maybe, is that Count Dracula? Yeah, Count Dracula all over the kind of crease area. Maybe deepen that out with Black Forest, which is there. Krampus towards the outside. Bloody Mary next to that, or do I want Big Bad Wolf? I'll do a little swatch test, but I do want Hoya Basiu Forest. I think I'll use that on the inner corner. That could look quite cool. So we are well on the way now to Black Friday. Have you got your shopping lists ready? Is there anything that you are 100% getting, you're just waiting for that sale? I almost feel like there are certain categories. There's things that maybe you've been eyeing up all year and you're just waiting and you're kind of thinking any kind of discount, any discount. You just want to take the sting out a little bit. That's odd. That's come out more purple than I thought. Like, I know it's on the purple side, but it leans very, very purple, which I wasn't expecting. Count Dracula. Or did I just... No, I didn't have pigment on my brush because I've literally just ISO cleaned it. Black Friday is a nice way to perhaps take the sting out of an expensive palette you may have been eyeing for the whole year. Black Friday just helps to make it just a little bit more justifiable. So is there anything that falls into that category for you? And is there anything where you're thinking, I'll get that, but only if the discount is 30% or more? Because I don't know about you, but I found that Black Friday in recent years, the discounts aren't what they used to be. They used to really slash prices. You could get absolute bargains with things 30, 40, 50 or even 60% off. Like, they would go in with the discounts. And I feel like they don't go quite as hard anymore with those discounts, which is a shame. To me, 20% is not a Black Friday discount. That's like we're having a bit of a treat sale, or one of the sales that you'd perhaps get during the year. That's nice, actually. I like that. I wasn't expecting that too. I think because Count Dracula was more purple based than I thought, it works really well with this blue. Much better than I'd actually anticipated. Maybe you're thinking there's a few things that's on your list, but you're only going to get them if the discount is high enough. So they're kind of like, oh, you know, I quite like that palette. Maybe if they reduce it by 30 or 40%, that might make me go for it. But if it's only 20, yeah, I like it, but I don't like it enough. That kind of thing. I am trying to get a bit of a list going. I feel like I want to write down the palettes that I want to get so I'm not distracted. Like, if I sit down and I think about it and I write down a list, if there's suddenly something that is on sale that's not on my list, then I shouldn't get it, because if I didn't think of it to include it on my list, then clearly I wasn't that fussed. Shimmer time. let's see what Bloody Mary, Krampus and Big Bad Wolf look like. Bloody Mary, Krampus, Big Bad Wolf. Big Bad Wolf is a bit too grey for what I'm... a bit too grey leaning for me for this look and what I'm thinking. So Krampus on the outside, Bloody Mary next to it. So I am actually going to the States next year. Yeah, see, this is dry. And this is what I found when I did the swatches. This is really dry. That's a shame because I really like the shade, but... and I suspected this, I do remember. I know purples are hard, purples are really, really hard. And as someone who loves a purple, I know how finicky they can be. So I'm now cleaning off my silicone applicator so that I can try Krampus with that and see if that helps. A little bit. But yeah, it's really struggling. It's really struggling. That's a shame. Wet brush, let's see. Pulling out all the tricks here. I think wet brush is the most effective. It's better. I think it's... I'd also prefer it to have a bit more oomph to it. But at the same time, I don't know, if it's a Halloween palette. No, I'd prefer more oomph. Because I really like this colour combination. But I would want this purple to just have a little bit more presence. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. Because these go really nicely together. But this purple is letting the side down ever so slightly. That's a shame. Time for Bloody Mary. I know that Erica used this and she wasn't too keen. I'd be interested to go back to her video actually and see which shades she wasn't too keen on. Yeah, see, I think Bloody Mary's a bit dry too. Let's get it on my little finger. Okay, the little finger, that's better. Still on the dry side. Not as dry as Krampus though. Krampus is... that's like bone dry in comparison. Like shade wise, that is a fantastic combo. And for like a Halloweeny look, I know we're past Halloween now, but that's really pretty. It's just Krampus. Just Krampus. I've now picked up Hoya Baciu Forest. I'm gonna have to find out how you pronounce that. I've just butchered that, I'm sure. I don't know if this is gonna be the intense shimmer that I like to go for. Oh no, that's pretty. Bit more subtle, but that works. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to do my concealer and basically sort out most of my face and come back so that I can do my under eyes on camera. Under eye time. Let's see. I'm taking this long because I'm eyeing up Grendel, that green, even though I've said avoid the green, and thinking, but how nice would it be to go green underneath? So I'm doing that. I'm going with green underneath. So my Zoeva 230 pencil brush into Grendel. Maybe should have used slightly, maybe my refer number 1, because that's deposited quite a lot. I haven't powdered under my eyes though, so I can tidy this with some concealer. Grendel under the eye was indeed the correct choice. But that's a beautiful shade of green, and I think it goes really well with the top. I'm thinking one of these Colourpop cream gel liners on the inside. Right, yeah, I'm going to do Acting Up and Wild Idea. And then for the under eye, well, it's going to have to be the blue, I think. And to avoid making that same mistake, I'm picking up my Refa number 1 this time and going into Black Forest. I want something that's in between my Refa number 1 and my Zoeva 230. I'm going to risk it. I'm going in, I've wiped off the pigment. I'm using that Zoeva again. Yeah, there we go. I just have to be a bit more delicate, that's it. I think Jem was a bit too overexcited with the green on the other side. Getting the pigment off my 13, dipping into Count Dracula, and just giving that a bit of a smudge. I'm going to tidy everything up, finish off my face, and then come back and give you my final thoughts. Well, my initial impressions. I'm going to come back and give you my initial impressions of the Haunted Europe Nomad Cosmetics palette. So I've zoomed you in so that you can see both looks up close. So this is the greeny, orangey, grey side, and this is the sort of, well, the purpley, bluey with a hint of silver side. Would you say you had a favourite side? If you do have a favourite side, let me know in the comments. I'd be very curious to know. Quick run through of what I have used. So the foundation is the Rimmel Lasting Finish, like 35-hour foundation. My concealer is this Tarte Shape Tape, which is on its last legs. Don't know if you can see that I'm really starting to scrape it now. The Clinique Easy liner and the Rimmel Thrill Seeker mascara. Loving these. I've used this Peachy Keen palette, which I'm not keen on, you'll see from my video just before. But yeah, Peachy Keen palette for my blush and highlight. And on my lips, I've got the NYX lip liner in the shade Auburn and MAC Diva lipstick. And I almost forgot to say, on this side, I have tight lined with the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in Wild Idea. And on the other side, I've done the same, but instead with the shade Acting Up. And I believe that is everything that's currently on my face. Haunted Europe, Nomad Cosmetics. What do I think? I love the packaging. Yeah, this is just cool. I think this is fun. Really enjoy that. I could sit here and do this for hours, but yeah, let's not make you sit there and watch me do that for hours indeed. Colour story wise, as I said in the beginning, it's massively grown on me. It's not a colour story that I was immediately drawn to, but then the more I looked at it, the more I realised how different it was to any other palette I currently own, and in the end I decided I would take the plunge and I would go for it. I think we don't need both of these golds. I think, what would I replace one of those golds with? I don't know if I necessarily prefer one of them over the other, but I might have got rid of it and put a black. Yeah, I did comment. I think I said I would have liked a black. I think if they got rid of one of those golds and they swapped it with a black, that would really round off this palette. I love the colours on this side. I love that brown that I used, Count Dracula, is even more purple leaning than I thought. That was really, really that was a surprise to me, and that was really, really nice, and it ended up working really well with the blue shade, which is called Black Forest. I feel that all these shades work together and all of these shades work together, and I'll be interested to see what it's like when you kind of cross over the two halves, so I'll experiment with that. The thing that's disappointing with this is the dryness of the purples, and I totally felt that when I did the swatches. I even remember as I was physically doing them thinking, grimacing slightly, because they were just super dry. Krampus especially. So Krampus is the driest shade in there. Oh, it's Kitty. I suspected that it would be quite difficult to work with. So it's tricky to, you can pick it up, but then it doesn't want to lay down when you put it down. It still works. I mean, you can see it. It has given a very, very pretty look, but it's just dry. It doesn't make it unusable. It just makes it a bit harder. It's not as easy as some of the other shades in there. I remember swatching New Zealand stargazing more recently, and people have commented about how the formula, especially of the shimmers from Nomad, has improved. So I'm wondering if the shimmers that are in here are the older formula. I mean, it is an older palette, so just because they've kind of re-released it doesn't necessarily mean they've reformulated the shadows in there. It's likely it's just the same formula. So maybe that's why I'm not as in love with the shimmers in here as I am in, for example, New Zealand stargazing. They're still very good. They are still very good. I think the duds in here are Krampus and to a certain extent Big Bad Wolf and Bloody Mary. They can still work. I would say potentially subpar by Nomad standards, which seems a bit harsh because they do still work, but they're just not as nice to work with as the more recent shimmers. This is now the oldest palette from Nomad I have, and I'd be curious to see if I felt the same about other older Nomad palettes. And I've also picked up Fuji 5 Lakes. I've not swatched or done any looks with that, so I think I'll be able to draw a better conclusion if the issue is old shimmers versus new shimmers, or if it's a bit of a random anomaly that's going on. Still a really good palette. Formula wise, perhaps not Nomad's best, and I'm only basing that off using New Zealand stargazing. Once I've done some looks with Fuji 5 Lakes, I'll give you final. So this will be in a future what do I think now, because I'll use this some more. I'll use Fuji 5 Lakes and I'll be able to come back and sort of comment on the formula that's in here. I really love the colour story, which is, when I think how much I disliked it when I first saw it, is surprising to me. And I don't know why I disliked it so much. It's got blue, it's got purple, it's got green. What more could Gem want? I hope you found this video useful. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up before you leave, and do consider subscribing so that you could be notified when I post any videos in the future. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and hopefully I'll see you again in a video in a not too distant future. Take care. Bye!